Javier looked at his phone screen, hoping Amelia had reached out to talk. But the name on the display wasn't hers. The text had come from Carmen, his sister. It was an update on her current mission. Nightblade has entered the country. This only put an added strain on his mind and heart. His sister was the toughest, most talented agent he knew. But Nightblade was ruthless and would likely make her a target for revenge due to their complicated past. The prince had more than one reason to lose sleep tonight. Javier spent the night in his private office lounge. As predicted, he slept very little and woke up with the same storm of emotions still inside him. He pulled out his phone and hesitated before making a call. Mr. Grant's voice answered on the other end.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Grant. Has Max woken up yet? Javier asked.
Sir, Max is eating breakfast.
The prince paused, then tried to sound casual when he asked, And Amelia, did she join him? There was a silence on the other end before the butler cautiously replied.
No, sir. Miss Amelia did not return last night. In fact, Mr. Grant was unsure whether he should continue.
Yes? Javier's voice was uncharacteristically tired.
She mentioned that she wouldn't be coming back for a while.
Javier's stomach dropped, but his expression remained stone cold. After a long pause, he finally muttered. Noted. Thank you, Mr. Grant. Let her do as she pleases. The next day, Javier flew out of the city for a long international work trip. It was a welcomed distraction. With him gone, Max stayed with Amelia at Faith's for the next week, as Amelia was adamant about not returning to the prince's residence. Meanwhile, Charles's recovery was going well. Amelia visited him on her lunch breaks and after work. And once he was well enough to move around, he was discharged from the hospital, which was a huge weight off Amelia's chest. She had been carrying a lot of guilt from the car crash, knowing that he intentionally took on the brunt of the impact to save her. The night of his discharge, Charles's parents invited Amelia over for dinner, and she accepted, happy to celebrate the occasion. After dinner, Charles offered to drive Amelia home, but she didn't want him to get behind the wheel of a car so soon. So he settled for walking her to the front of the building. He was going to escort her to her bus stop, but she insisted he not exert himself. It's not fair. I can get there on my own. You shouldn't push yourself, Charles. Walking too much might aggravate your wounds. For Charles, this car accident turned out to be a blessing in disguise. Not the nearly dying part, but the part where he got to spend time with Amelia while she took such good care of him. Now that he was getting better, he didn't want that closeness to go away. Once they reached the entrance of the building, Amelia looked up to see Charles gazing at her with an intensity that made her uneasy. She could sense the reluctance in his eyes. He didn't want to let her go. Get home safe and rest well, Charles, she said, about to go into the night. But he suddenly reached out and pulled her into his arms. She was caught off guard by the warmth of his embrace. For a brief moment, the face of a different man flashed in her mind. One with deep, brooding eyes, and Amelia wished the arms wrapped around her belonged to him. Her chest tightened, and instinctively, she tried to step away. Charles, what are you? Hey, you can't refuse a hug from an injured person. That's bullying, he teased. Amelia sighed and allowed him to hold her, but the next sentiment she said firmly. Charles, I know we've been close these last few days, but things between us are different from what we had in the past. I do care about you, but not in the way you want. I'm sorry. His grip loosened, and the sadness in his smile was evident. He let out a bitter chuckle. Somehow that hurts more than the semi-truck. Amelia furrowed her brow. Charles, He rested his head on hers. I know, Ames. Can I just hold you for a second longer? Then I'll let you go. As the two of them stood in an embrace, the warm glow of the overhead lamp created an illusion of intimacy, making it look as if they were a couple in love beneath the moonlight. Unbeknownst to them, a black armored car had stopped on the street nearby. Inside it was Javier, who witnessed their embrace with a pained glare, his expression growing darker by the second. Amelia boarded the bus after leaving Charles's apartment. 2 days prior, she signed a lease to rent a small furnished apartment that had become vacant in Faith's building complex. But living alone no longer agreed with her. Amelia had grown accustomed to the lively energy of a bustling home. She now found the silence of the small, still space to be oppressive. Her nights there felt empty and desolate. But she told herself she would soon adapt. The city bus was quiet in the late hours as it hummed down the road. Tired from the trying week, Amelia rested her head against the window, and her eyes grew heavy as the gentle rhythm of the ride eventually lulled her into a deep sleep. Completely unaware of her surroundings, Amelia remained asleep as passengers cleared out along the route. She didn't even notice when her seatmate changed to a tall, dark man in a striking brown coat. The man pulled up his coat collar in an attempt to obscure his identity from the public. But it was undoubtedly the gallant face of Prince Javier Calderon. Outside the bus, a convoy of luxury cars tailed the vehicle at a cautious distance, ensuring no overt attention was drawn. Javier hadn't planned on following Amelia this far. This evening, when he returned from his trip, he found that all of Amelia's belongings had been cleared out of the villa. It made his chest feel hollow, and he had to know where she'd gone. So he found himself driving past Charles's apartment and felt like he'd been stabbed in the gut when he saw the two of them embracing in the moonlight. Unable to take the sight, he ordered his driver to drive away. But when he saw Amelia start to walk alone down a dark street, he didn't have it in him to leave without ensuring she made it safely to wherever she was going. So he instructed the car to follow her. Watching her delicate profile from afar in the bus window, his heart ached. Did he miss this silly woman that much? Before he knew it, the prince was out of his car and paying for a city bus ride with $100 bill. As Amelia drifted deeper into her slumber, her head flopped over and landed on her new seatmate's strong shoulder. He stiffened at the unexpected weight, and his brows furrowed. Did she know it was him? He shook his head. For all the warnings she gives Max about stranger danger, she dared to let her guard down like this on a public bus? Her sleep was soon invaded by his familiar amber scent, and in her dreams appeared the face of the man she fought so hard to forget this week. Unconsciously, she nuzzled into him, and her warm breath fell against his neck. It was uncomfortably intimate, and stirred an emotion he couldn't define. He glanced down at her serene face. She looked so peaceful, her features precious and untouched by the world. His chest suddenly burned with frustration. While he was gone, how many times had another man watched her sleep like this? Just then, the bus hit a pothole, and Amelia was startled awake, not realizing she'd fallen asleep. Embarrassed, she quickly apologized to the stranger next to her. "Oh, I'm so sorry." She froze when she saw the handsome, sullen face that was looking back at her. Javier? On public transit? She had to still be dreaming. Convinced he was a figment of her imagination, she reached out and touched his arm to check. Javier smirked at her surprise. "Too handsome to be true?" Still dazed from her sleep, she whispered, "What? Javier, what are you doing here?" He took a deep breath and sat back in his seat. "I didn't know it was possible to lease an apartment in under a week. You're quick." Amelia sat back as well and looked straight ahead. "I thought you were away in Istanbul. This morning they showed you on the news." Javier quirked a brow. "Following up on me?" She glared at him. "I should ask you the same. Why are you on my bus, Javier? Just then, the bus reached its last stop. The driver put it in park and exited the vehicle on a break. Amelia had missed her stop when she fell asleep. She looked around and realized she and Javier were the only ones left as the lights flickered off, leaving them in the dark. She exhaled and stood to leave, frustrated. I missed my stop. He took her hand and her breath hitched. Sit with me. Just a moment, please. Amelia felt an ache just looking at him. She wasn't sure how much longer she could stand to stay because she knew it would only make going home to an empty apartment that much harder. But she sat down anyway and sternly took her hand back. What is it? Javier was silent, then finally spoke, his voice low. Come back. He sounded gruff, but his words were tinged with regret and they tugged at her stubborn heart. She quickly turned away and shut her eyes to hide the tears that rose. That was the last thing she expected that arrogant man to say. It turned her into a turbulent mess inside. But she sat still and said nothing in return. Javier knitted his brow. That day I was upset, but I shouldn't have said that. It's your home too. You should be there. Not here, on a cold bus, surrounded by strangers, going who knows where in the night. Amelia fought to keep composed and put up a strong front, but the emotional whiplash was too much. How could he do this to her? Tell her to leave one minute, only to turn around the next and take it all back. He had hurt her, and it was infuriating. She shot back to her feet, her eyes red with tears and fury. Why can't you just leave me alone, Javier? You have so many women, Paloma and all the rest you could want. Just go to them. Stop dragging me into whatever this is. She pushed past his knees to leave the aisle, but he quickly stopped her between his legs. Her words had hit him like a blow, and he had no idea what she meant. Wait, he spoke firmly, not wanting to leave any room for misunderstandings. Just now, what was that you said about me and other women? Explain. And please be clear. To find out what happens next, download the Pocket FM app in the next minute to get free access to all episodes of The Royal Accident for free.